And there we are. So we are now rolling. So this is Ben, who I met at the Philadelphia Pen Show in January of this last year. And the show itself was pretty, I'll just say this, it was pretty grim. There were far fewer people there, and you were among the high points of the show for me because you had an enthusiasm about these old pens that you had never seen before, and I had a really fun time trying to impart to you my enthusiasm, which was hanging by a thread until you showed up, because I didn't have money to spend. I didn't find pens I really wanted, and but I was buying things I shouldn't have. And but when you wanted to know what it was about old pens that were so cool, I was all over you like a bad suit. I made sure that you understood the world according to Per Gustafsson. And the guy next to me, on either side of me, Nicola, and I don't know the guy's name on the other side of me, but he and I mainly, Nicola was busy calligraphing things, but the other guy and I were having a great time, I think, trying to impress upon you what old pens had going for them. Now, I don't know much about new pens, and you've got some new pens, I see, so you're going to have to explain things to me. So now what we're gonna do, I have this thing jury-rigged so that my screen, what you will be seeing, my viewers can't see unless I can figure out a way to do it side by side. But anyway, why don't you switch your camera and show me what you have? Yeah. Okay, I recognize...
Oh, no,
maybe I recognize 3 pens, and there's, in fact, I share that second from the left. What is that one? The silver pen with the...
Goodness, this is a Pilot Metropolitan.
Okay, let me see if I have that. It was sent to me by Goulet Pens to do a drawing or something with, and they were having a contest, and I didn't win. The polls were voting incorrectly or something. I don't know what went wrong, but I didn't win. But I think that was the pen. So that pen, one of the things that I have a problem with a pen like that is the part where my fingers normally would rest is right where they have that big cliff. You go from the width of the barrel to the width of the section, and there's many modern pens that have that, and I find that it just really, that little bump bothers me a lot. And even though my fingers might be further toward the front, I still feel that sharp cliff point edge, I guess. Let me just see if
You're talking about this one, is it the one back here you're saying?
I'm just talking about the difference between where it has that faux alligator thing, where your fingers are now, and then that bright chrome thing. That's where my fingers feel that, and it annoys me. It's like a little tiny stone in my shoe. Now, you might like stones in your shoes, Ben. So, I realize after they stay there for a long time, you develop a callus, and they fit right there between the toes. Oh, there it is. I see. I've got it. The same thing, I think. See?
Oh, hey.
See, look. See? Is this it?
Yo, yes. I think down to
that bump. That really bothers me. It's just it's like fingernails on a blackboard. It just, if I used it a lot, I would get used to it. But it does, that thing sort of bothers me.
No, I can definitely see that. I'm curious. I'm comparing it now to this is the Kaki Uno, or I think it's pronounced that way.
Yeah.
Very very similar pen by Pilot.
Yeah.
With a little bit more runway on the grip. I wonder if maybe this would be a little bit easier.
It might. I like the term you used, runway, on the grip
Yeah.
there. Now, where are the threads? How does that pen screw on? Where are the threads on
This
that?
one,
Snaps
yeah,
on?
no, it actually just snaps.
Okay.
Little plastic cap. But
See, that's another
I think
thing.
it's
That's a thing that I wonder how well those snappy things are going to hold up over time. I know
sure.
threads can get threaded. The threads can wear down. But I know that there's a lot of pens that were made maybe 10 or 20 years ago that people bring to me and they say, can you fix this? And I can't fix it at all. There's nothing I can do about it because the little spring or whatever just wears down and it doesn't hold a seal anymore. You know, it just flies off. So,
I feel so much safer with a screw-on cap as well.
well, the
Just
screw-on
having
cap,
bounce around in the-
you know, it can always unscrew, but and then you've got the other pen I recognize is the parallel pen that you have, another Pilot.
Yes.
You Pilot person, you,
How?
and
Very,
that's for calligraphy.
totally. Yeah, this is a very recent addition. I'm so excited to be able to practice with it. I believe this is I think it's like a 3.8
Yeah,
meter.
yeah,
There's 4 different sizes. This is the second to largest, I believe.
yeah.
But
And they also
Yeah,
make some that have a little nick out of part of it, so you have a drop shadow being created.
oh, that's right. I've seen people
And-
who will Dremel.
Yeah, or
different
they
notches
can
in the
do
top,
that.
too.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, no,
it's
very cool.
interesting. I don't do that sort of lettering, and if I had to, I'll use a stub fountain pen nib, just because if I don't hold that pen exactly correctly, it'll skip or it feels like it's tearing into the paper, that sharp
Oh,
edge.
definitely.
So you really have
Yeah.
to hold it very carefully and make your letters good.
You
And
know,
you
my brother has been showing me. He'll go. He holds it almost completely upright.
okay.
And this is very wrong. This is not the correct way to write with it. But with enough force, he almost you get like little flicks of ink
Yeah,
getting
well,
splattered.
that has some people like that,
Some streaky,
and
streakiness. It's a little out there.
it's a little out there. It works well. There's also the I don't know what they're called, the blade pens or something. They're made of a aluminum can that's been bent, and it has two chunks of tin or aluminum bent pen, maybe they're called, and they work just like that, except the blade is shaped somewhat
Is it like
oval like, so you can sort of rotate it and get all sorts of different kinds of surfaces on them, and they're fun to watch people that know how to use them. You just have to. It's sort of, you have to pretend you're Errol Flynn and you have your sword, and Basil Rathbone is attacking you with his sword, and you're sort of just, you don't. It seems like control isn't possible with a pen like that, but anyway. And then you've got a pen with a red cap. No, you showed me that one already. Then you have that pink pen.
Oh yeah, check this one out.
Well, I'll
Can you
try.
do-
It's a Lamy. I can tell that
That's
from
right.
here. It's a Lamy pink pen. Now, I know they come in a
Yeah.
million different colors, and that's one of them. That's one of the million colors that they make.
This is so this one's the Lamy Safari.
Yeah.
I think there's like an All-Star, and then there's another one that has a very long back. It almost looks like a dip pen.
Okay.
But yeah, I couldn't tell you. They've got too many colors to count, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Well,
this is I very much appreciate this nib. Maybe we can talk a little bit about it.
Okay, I wish I had one like it to compare it with, but save that aside. We'll talk about that
Yeah,
later. Let's just go through
definitely.
your pens, and then I'll show you mine, and then we'll sort of draw together here. Go down the line there. You've got a pearl and black one, or a gray and black swirly thing.
Yeah, so this is a Noodler's Ahab.
Okay,
And we've got the fancy little flex nib in there right now.
okay,
Next up, so those are those ones, and then now we've got a bunch of Jinhao pens. So
okay,
this is one of my favorites. This is the X450, and
okay,
I have a Zebra G in here, which is one of
okay. Now,
one we're going to talk about.
I know that people say very nice things about that nib. Because it's a steel nib, though, you're going to have to replace it down the road with another one, so they won't hold up.
Definitely. Well, this one, I think it's titanium or something. I am not actually sure, but I've
Okay,
had steel ones in the past.
okay,
These seem to degrade just as quickly, unfortunately.
okay. Well,
But very, very, very fun while they last. I think if you were to wash them after every use, so they had no ink remaining on them, they would last a little longer.
oh, who wants to wash? I mean,
That's a lot of work, right?
that's a lot of work, and half the fun of
This is a
half the
Jinhao.
fun of being a pen collector is that you are always covered in ink. Okay, and that's which one is that?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a Jinhao. What is this? This is a 157, 159. I should really know this.
That's
Giant. I call it the Shrek pen.
oh,
It's
it
too
is
big,
rather
too
Shrek
easy.
pen. I've been watching the old marionette shows called Thunderbirds on International Rescue. They were made in the 60s, and one of the International Rescue machines I refer to as the Flying Pickle, and it's almost as aerodynamic as that pen.
Oh my god. What is this?
I'll have to send you a link to one of their things. Okay, and next is
Yes, please. We've got two versions of this is the Jinhao 992. This is
okay,
one of my favorite pens actually. I've got one with a gold nib, one with this steel. So
okay,
love to suss out the difference in those. And then this is a Jinhao 991, almost identical to these two,
okay. I
just different.
my knowledge and understanding of the nomenclature, you could pick any three numbers at random, and I wouldn't know the difference of what you're talking about. And I should
I can tell
probably
you
learn what they are because if I'm going to be talking with you about these things, I need to try them out. Or
to be honest, I think they picked them out of the air as well.
they
So
probably picked them out of the air as well. I once ate at a restaurant, and it was a very local restaurant that I loved a lot, went there quite often, and suddenly the tables had numbers on the wall behind the tables, and the owner of the store went to the hardware store to buy numbers that you would affix to your peel and stick numbers you'd put on your mailbox. And his numbers, it's like he used the German Enigma machine to come up with the random number sequence, because it wasn't table 1, 2, 3, 4 starting at the front or the back of the kitchen and going in a line. They were completely random. Almost all were 2-digit numbers. Like, there was only maybe 15 tables in the entire place, but there was table 87, table 23, and I cracked up looking at it. So anyway, random numbers don't mean anything to me. So I will show you the 4 pens I have, and I know that you wanted to
yeah,
talk about certain things, so we can talk about those as well. So I'm just going to, I will show them to my audience first. Ben wanted to see pens that had overfeeds. He wanted to figure out what the point of all of that was, and he wanted then to, so I'm just going to move you out of the way. You can see what I'm doing here, but I want to make sure that my audience will now see what I'm doing. So
gotcha.
can you see what I'm doing? Kind of. Let me just,
Yeah, not too bad.
we're
Oh,
using we're using an iPad and an iPhone, and I don't know what you're using, an iPhone, I guess, over there. So he really can't quite, and we're using Skype. So a an overfeed is a little piece of metal or a little piece of hard rubber that goes over the top of the nib rather than underneath, or goes on top and underneath. This one has a hard rubber thing under it, and I'm wondering if this is upside down. It might very well be. It's been so long since I've used these. And this one has a hard rubber, just making hard rubber feed over the top, nothing underneath. This one has a gold feed over the top and a regular feed underneath, regular feed that you would normally see on these pens. And finally, we have a feed underneath and an overfeed on top. Now, overfeeds, I believe it was just another way to get ink to the nib, and I don't think we have to really worry about gravity. It's more capillary action when we're dealing with this kind of thing. So having it come over the top or from underneath maybe doesn't make any difference. But generally, I will just make a blanket statement, they're dumb. I'll just say that right now. They're,
oh wow, okay.
well, for one thing, if there is something above the nib and you press down, your nib is going to be pushing up, but that overfeed is going to be wanting to push down, which will keep you from being fully flexible, maybe. If you're not really bearing down too much, I don't think it makes a difference. The ones that might work better of them are the little metal, it's a little metal trough. It looks like a gutter, and it could hold extra ink that comes out of the feed in section rather. And if you are using a very flexible nib where you want a lot of ink right there, this might give you more ink. But again, it might interrupt your ability to be flexible with it. So I don't see the point in it. But these pens are usually a little bit older, a little bit rarer. They do have really nice nibs. I'm trying them all out here. And I should spend more time. I haven't used these pens in probably, I think I played with them when Nick was here maybe last year, because I was trying to find some that I could maybe sell. This nib is amazing. This is amazing. This nib is amazing. No wonder I still have it and I didn't let him have it. So anyway, so those are the overfeeds. You also wanted to talk about nibs that were the Fuda nibs, or the, not the Fuda nibs, but the layered nibs, where you have nib on top of a nib on top of a nib. And if you had a job where you had to paint a house with Waterman blue ink, and that you'd use that pen, but it uses a lot of ink and makes a big fat line that works almost as well as a Sharpie magic marker. No, there's more charm to them than that. I'm being mean, and I don't mean to be. They are an interesting thing to write with. For me, a pen that has 4 tines or 9 tines, as one of them has, it just requires you to have all of those tines be on the paper at the same time. So you really have to hold it only in one particular way. It's not as if you move a little bit, then 2 of the tines might not deliver the ink, and you'd get a unvaried line. Now you might say, "Oh, screw it! I don't care. I'm being expressive, and it'll be fine." Just like your brother writing with the pen vertically, having an effect that he likes. So I don't really know what to say. I haven't tried enough of them, but I think that they are fun to a point. It's
It's 9 points on some of them, I guess.
nine tines on one of them that Ralph makes.
Can I press you on that? Because I had no idea. When I'd mentioned stacked nibs, I'd really only ever heard of them like maybe 2 or 3, and it was usually like a kind of DIY.
They're all Dr. Frankenstein-y, do-it-yourself. They have that. I don't know if anyone is actually manufacturing them in bulk with sort of precision machining going on. I think they are all handmade, but I might be wrong. The Fuda nibs are a nib that is bent like a hockey stick at the front. It goes down, and then where you expect it to stop and have a ball of iridium, it suddenly decides to go up at an angle, and that entire angled thing, like at the part of the hockey stick that rides along the ice, that would all make contact with the paper. So what you get is it's like a italic nib, but sideways. So you get a.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I'm wondering. Let me show you. I have this, which I've been told is like an architect nib, and it sounds very similar to what you're describing.
An architect nib is a way where it has been machined to do what it's doing there. And why they call it an architect nib, I think, has to do with the lettering the stylized lettering that architects sometimes use in their drafting when they used to do drafting. And it's an interesting effect. To me, it's I'd have to try it out. I think it works. It would work well with Arabic writing because the strokes, the thick strokes, are horizontally made rather than vertically made. So it would fit a certain style of writing more than others, perhaps. But I mean, I could write with that pen, and it would just be very dark where I wouldn't expect it to be. How do you find when you write with it? Does it make you?
It's definitely a little bit different. I find myself very often kind of like clipping letters or filling in where I want negative space, just kind of thinking like maybe on an A where it's trying to keep stuff open.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I use it a lot for drawing or tree
Okay,
trunks.
well, can you show us a drawing or two of yours?
Yeah, sure. Actually, let's see.
Ben is Ben and I share this this desire of completely covering the piece of paper with ink. No reason to leave any part of the paper white. So that is a tree, it looks like, or trees, or map.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm looking down. Trees in a road.
Upside down?
I was looking at it. I didn't see it. I'm looking down from above at a landscape, as if I was falling out of an airplane. Do you have one of your black and white ones or single color things?
Yeah.
They look more like doodles to me.
Oh, definitely.
Ben is also someone who posts these really interesting photographs he takes, I presume, with his iPhone or something. And before he does it, he must step on a nail or something because it's all blurry and jiggly. Look at that. That's the one I remember, that one right there. So zoom in on
That's
that
what I
one.
sent you.
Yeah, that one
Uh,
is just full of line work. And it's mark making, we used to call that back in my day when I was in school. People were interested in mark making. And it's just a pleasure. You don't have to make it be real. You don't have to represent anything. You can just cover the page with doodles of texture, and it's really fun.
yeah, no, it feels very low pressure a lot of the time too, which
And
I think is
it's very relaxing, very zen-like to just get yourself into some sort of groove, and you draw and draw and draw and draw and draw.
heck yeah.
Now, you also wanted to talk about non-flexible nibs.
Definitely. Well, that's
So
like I feel like so much of our conversations they've been dominated by all the flexing we can do.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm really curious. I have a gold and a steel nib that are identical otherwise, and to be honest, I really can't feel a difference. Or,
well,
at least it's very minute.
gold and steel. Gold nibs are not all flexible, and steel nibs are not all firm. So there may be there may not be a difference that you would expect to see or to feel. So you're saying both of those are equally firm or flexible,
Well,
or equally the
yes.
same?
I I'm wondering now because I wasn't quite expecting the gold one to be flexible. I think I was expecting it to be, I don't know if softer is quite the right word, or maybe more smooth on the page. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they both write very, very fine. I enjoy both of these pens.
Okay, well now it's in focus.
Awesome.
Well, make a line with each one of them showing me the difference between the two. Write the word gold with the gold one, and write the word silver with the other one, even though it's not silver.
Really putting my spelling to the test here. Good.
Okay, well, gold and silver. They don't look different from here, but it's sort of out of focus. So, but you're not. I mean, clearly you know how to press down and get a more flexible line if you want to. You're saying that both of these don't do that?
Good cues. No, they definitely do a little bit. Let's see.
Why don't you move the picture out of the way there? That way it's like wants to focus on that too much.
Oh.
There we go. That's fine.
A little bit better.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
This one's gonna run out of ink on me. But there's definitely line variation.
Okay.
And like I can see here, you can see
railroading.
Even railroading.
Yeah. Well, if it's running out of ink, that's will happen.
Oh, true. Let me see if I can get this one to do it. Yeah, no, I'm pressing way too hard on that one now.
Well, don't press too hard because you may not. It may not go back. Well, in general, loving a flexible nib it's hard not to like a flexible nib, and they're very seductive. They make me want to make marks all over my page in long, swoopy, swirly calligraphy, swishes and swaggers, flourishes. That doesn't help me if I'm trying to write a letter of condolence to someone or a letter to the editor or something. When I want to write words and I have to think about the words, using a fine, firm nib usually helps me think more acutely, I guess. So there are places in my life for a Parker 51 or a Schaefer Lifetime pen that has a very firm nib. And you'll find that there are times when you'll want that Pilot Parallel pen to write your forgery of.
Imagining keeping a journal with this thing, my goodness.
Yeah, it would. I think if you kept a journal with that pen, you'd be writing in Middle English and talking about the squire and the knight and the damsel in distress, and they don't happen as much as you might like them to. So you might have to pick a different pen for that. You're out of focus again, mister. We're getting to 31 minutes, so maybe that's enough for this. But let's just go back to our faces here for a little bit.
Sure.
Since you're looking at me anyway. So there you go. Now, can I mention to the public that you are the Bunmeister?
Oh, sure, Bunmaster. Geez, I tell you what, I miss making cinnamon buns. It's a.
He worked at a bakery, and he was told that he was the Bunmaster. So, but now you're on furlough, I guess. They don't.
This is true.
They don't trust you to do that. So, how are you managing the Clorox wash? You seem to have survived that without a problem.
Oh boy. Well, so far so good.
So far so good.
No, I feel very lucky. I'm in an area where I can at least get out of the house and be able to walk around a little bit every day. So.
Yeah. You live in the in the burbs or the countryside or what?
Heck yeah! No, we're a little bit out here. Definitely suburby, but you know, enough parks and different nature trails and stuff to keep busy.
Well, I went outside today and did some drawing of. I guess I can turn my face around here. Well. Drawings with the Urban Sketchers and used a Waterman Taper-Rite pen that has a warped barrel. I don't know how the barrel got warped. It's sort of banana shaped. So it's actually kind of neat the way it fits in my hand, though it's very restrictive having a banana shaped pen in your hand. But I had fun drawing with that, and I also did some drawings on my iPad, and I did some drawings on with a pencil, I guess. But this
I was a little surprised to see you break out a marker today.
I brought up...
And on camera, no less.
Well, I had it here for some reason, and I think I had to make a magic marker, a sign for the lobby or something, and that was what I chose. But what we will do next time, I will work on my homework to get this system working a little bit better. So, and maybe it'll be a vertical version. You know, if this were a vertical format, I could be side by side better, and if you Skyped with me vertically, I think that would be the way to do it. That way, the horizontal filming that's going on would be able to show us side by side, but you still wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. So we have to figure out a different way to do it.
This is fair. But I think we negotiated it pretty well. It went by so quick, though. Jeez Louise, I can't believe it already.
Well, we'll say goodbye now, and we'll talk later. I'll.
Super.
Okay, so you say goodbye to the audience.
Thank you all.
Okay.
What a pleasure.
Okay.
Gosh,
okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it was my pleasure, and all of you, if you want to do it with me, we can do it. If you want to, you over there, I don't ever want to talk to you again, but all the rest of you are fine. We'll do this, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.